Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Empowering Industry podcast. I'm your host, Charli Matthews. I have been so enjoying summer. It's been just nice. It's been hot in Alabama, but I'm sure that in other places, people would welcome that. I wanted to just jump on here and let you just sit with us a while, and I'm really excited about it because every time that I'm with Adrian, it is a blast. And so I didn't get enough time with him at Reliable Plant, so I'm excited that I have you now. So jump on here and introduce yourself to everyone.
Sure. Hey, good day, everyone. And Charli, appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity to be here and to have this chat with you. But yeah, I'm Adrian Messer. I'm the U.S. Operations Manager for SDT Ultrasound Solutions. I live in Anderson, South Carolina, so we're feeling the heat too. It's going to be 10. Well, it's going to feel like 103 today. So yeah, summertime has hit hard in the South for sure. But again, just a pleasure to be here. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity anytime we could get to have a chat.
Wonderful. And I do want to go to SDT and talk more about that and what all you have to offer there. But I want to start with just how you got into the industry. It seems like everybody has a different story, but I'm just really curious about what set you on this journey.
Yeah, I wish I had this great story to tell. I hear some people talk about how they got into the industry and they've just got this great story, but I literally fell into the industry. I graduated from Clemson University in 2001, and while I was in college and high school, I had a job in retail. I've just enjoyed working. Like I've always worked from the time I was 16 until now. I just like working, and I graduated Clemson in '01. And once I graduated Clemson, I kind of started looking into what else is out there because the job that I was in, I kind of felt like I was always going to kind of be in. You kind of get comfortable somewhere. You get to be where you're really good at what you do. And again, it was in retail. And I felt like once I graduate from Clemson, I'm going to kind of advance and be able to do more things. And when I realized that that wasn't going to take place as quickly as I thought it should, I kind of started looking around. And just like any college grad at the time, and probably even still today, you're just applying for jobs, just to see what hits. And got a response from a company in the industry, and that was in October of 2003. And fast forward to today, 22 years later, and I couldn't imagine doing anything outside of this industry. So basically, everything that I know in maintenance and reliability, I have learned from talking to people in the plants. That is one of the most fun things about what I get to do is I get to go out into plants, and I tell some people that I live the TV show how it's made. I mean, it could be a potato chip plant one day, it could be a water utility plant the next, it could be an offshore oil rig the next. It's just amazing at what you get to get out and see. And speaking of Clemson, when I tell people that I graduated from Clemson, they say, "Oh, mechanical or electrical?" Well, neither. I actually majored in business. So I'm a business major converted into a pseudo reliability engineer. But it's just a great industry to be in, and it's a fun time to be in the industry.
Yeah, and I love the retail background because that explains a lot to me about how you can just talk to anybody. It's very comfortable having the conversation, but that also helps you, going into a plant and understanding all the different kinds of people that work and make things successful in our industry, right?
Yeah, and I appreciate you picking up on that because I feel like anybody should have to work in retail at some point in their lives because you very quickly learn how to and then how not to treat people. I don't discount that experience at all because it taught me at a very early age, management styles, how to treat people, how to read people, how to have conversations with people. That experience while I was in high school and college, certainly helped me from a personal point of view, even today.
Yeah, and then in the business school, I went to the business school of Alabama, and then so we're little rivals in the SEC, but we don't have to talk about that.
Little bit.
But they the business school, it does prepare you in a lot of ways, and sometimes you feel like you could go to any place, right? Any category, if you will, of a job, but finding ourselves in industry, I think it's very unique. And like, I love going on a plant tour as well. So we share that interest. And um, I think that just going through that and seeing the people though, right? And like the reason why they're working so hard for us and our comfort, they have this pride of taking care of their families. And that is so beautiful.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yep.
Okay, so tell us about SDT and what you do over there with the ultrasound.
Yeah, so SDT Ultrasound, we're actually celebrating 50 years. So SDT was founded in 1975. So we are a condition monitoring company who specializes in airborne and structure-borne ultrasound. So for many of your people, with like pumps and equipment and motors, we're another technology that can be used to help to be forewarned about any potential problems before they become major problems. So we're really great with trending the decibel level or the noise on bearings. We're really good at finding pump cavitation. We're really good at finding compressed air and compressed gas leaks, valve leak detection. An application where we're having a lot of conversations around right now is with the electrical inspection. So you can use airborne ultrasound to listen for early detection of electrical faults like corona tracking and arcing. So again, we're a condition monitoring company. We specialize in ultrasound. So it's very complementary to infrared thermography on the electrical side, and it's very complementary to vibration analysis on the mechanical side.
Yes, and our audience loves hearing about that. Anytime that we have that as a topic, those are the ones that always come up.
Yeah.
But it's interesting the maintenance and reliability, people, professionals within that plant are the ones going to call you when they're having a problem or they're trying to change something out. How does that normally work?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because, I get phone calls and, they'll say, hey, we want to learn more about SDT or we want to learn more about ultrasound. Well, you start asking questions, and usually when people call us like that, something has failed, something's broken, something's happened, and now they're looking for solutions to hopefully be used that would help them to prevent that from happening again. So even though we've been around for 50 years, it's amazing that people are still learning about ultrasound technology. So if you look at all the other technologies, like the technology that has dominated the rotating equipment and the bearing condition monitoring has been vibration analysis. The technology that has dominated the electrical asset inspection is infrared thermography. But if you look at ultrasound, we're kind of one of the younger technologies out there. And when people think about ultrasound, they think of it as only a leak detector. So that's how the technology started, was with compressed air leak detection. But we're advanced well beyond that now, and even to the point that I would say the majority of our users are using the technology for more advanced types of applications like bearing condition monitoring, bearing lubrication, and electrical inspection. But again, typically when we get those kinds of phone calls, again, something has happened, something broke, something failed. So now they're looking for solutions to put in place to prevent that from happening again. And again, if you look at the P to F curve, if you're familiar with reliability and follow reliability, the first technology shown once you have point P, or that first instance of a potential problem, is ultrasound. So we see a lot of our users using ultrasound as kind of the first line of defense, if you will. So if they're trending the decibel level on a bearing, for example, the decibel level becomes a really good leading indicator of a potential problem. So it's kind of one of these things where ultrasound says, hey, there's a problem. And then they follow up with vibration, and vibration says, yeah, here's exactly what the problem is.
I love that. I love how, all of us working together. But it is our human nature to kind of put somebody in like a box. Okay, they started with this, they do this. I love when people, say I just do social media, and I'm like, yeah, but that was like 15 years ago.
Yeah,
And so it's wonderful to see how we grow and we innovate and we continue to help solve problems.
yeah.
Um, I'm excited about EPIC, which is our Empowering Pumps and Industry Conference, and just being able to bring everybody together for that, just talking through, like have conversations, right? I
Yeah,
love people to have
absolutely. I'm
conversations.
glad you brought up Epic because I had the opportunity to be a part of Epic last year for the first time. And, we go to a lot of conferences, just like you, Charlie, and, just the vibe, the atmosphere, the closeness of Epic. It's a very, I think that's what makes it unique. Not every conference has that kind of feel to it. So, yeah, but I'm excited to be back at Epic this year also.
Yeah, we're going to be at San Jacinto College, the Lyondale Center, and it's just so fun. It's inspiring just to go to
Yeah.
that facility. But before that, we get to see you at ESA, so I'll be there. I'm really excited to walk the floor and see you there, and that's July. I mean, next week. When this goes out, it'll be the next week.
Yeah, yeah. So ESA is another organization that we tend to do really well with. If you're not familiar with ESA, it's basically an association for anything and everything related to motors and motor repair, motor rebuilds. So, and again, that's an area that we do really well with bearing condition monitoring, precision bearing lubrication. So we make sure that grease doesn't end up in areas of the motor where it doesn't need to be. So yeah, we're excited to be a part of ESA again this year.
Yeah, and I just had Linda on the podcast, so y'all go listen to her interview too. That was great. Okay, so then I do want to just dig in a little bit more, just about kind of how do you kind of stay motivated within this industry? There's a lot of travel. We talked about that and getting to see
Yeah.
everyone. But what kind of inspires you to stay here?
Well, ultimately it's about helping people. At the end of the day, people that work in plants, they're looking for help, they're looking for resources, they're looking for, relationships with people that they not only like, but people that they trust. So, it's all about helping people and being a resource. I mentioned that I don't have any kind of mechanical or electrical kind of background. I came from business and, everything I've learned is just from talking to people in the industry. But to that point, over the years have been so many people that have just, unselfishly have shared their knowledge and their expertise. And I've been able to be on the receiving end of a lot of that, and these people out in plants that we deal with on a daily basis. I mean, they're just genuinely good people. They love to talk about what they do. They love to show you how they're making their product or how they're doing what they're doing, and in turn, they also like to share with what they're struggling with. So whether SDT can be a part of that solution and ultrasound, that's fantastic. But because our industry is very relationship based, if we can't help them, I like to be able to point them to somebody that I know and trust and can appreciate, and I know that would be a good help to them. So, that's really what motivates me is just, again, they're especially, I mentioned that this is a fun time to be in the industry. And one of the reasons is, there's a lot of shiny new tools and technologies out there, but then also, there's a lot of new people coming into the industry. So I see where, we've heard about for years where we've got, a lot of the people, retiring and leaving the workforce, but we also have a lot of new people coming into the workforce. So those new people coming in, those are people that I love having conversations with because they need help just like I did when I was that young person coming into the industry. So yeah, ultimately that's I'd say that's kind of what motivates me is just being a help and being a resource for people.
Yeah, being around the youth, it is so inspiring, and it reminds you a little bit of ourselves, and
Yeah.
and how we were excited about industry and getting into it, and our
Yeah,
jobs along the way, and then just it's good business to be connectors out there, and you're definitely one of those. So,
appreciate it.
okay, so I gotta have a little rapid fire. What is your favorite book?
Oh goodness. That's a great question. I probably don't read as much as I should.
Well, that's common nowadays. I love asking this question because, like, do I read? Like, yes, we podcast and different things, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I tell you, I love any kind of anything based on a true story. I love autobiographies. I love anything history related. So I'm a nerd. So if I'm at home and I'm in control of the TV, it's probably on Discovery or History or something like that. So
I love it.
yeah,
Okay, what about music?
I've got a wide variety of music. I love, being from the South. I love Southern rock, traditional Southern rock. It's funny, my radio station local to me is classic rock, but I've noticed that they've started to trickle in some like music from the '90s, and I'm like, yeah, is this really classic? When I think of Southern classic rock, I think of '70s, but now they're starting to trickle in, music from the '90s. So I guess I've reached that age,
That's
but
right. Those young people are in charge of putting that together, and
I
so that's
know.
like way back for them. I love it. Okay, what about this? What is the best advice you've ever received?
Oh wow. um Well, I would say recent business advice. We talk about, being busy. We travel a lot, and someone made the comment to me. They said, if everything's important, nothing is important. So, and that hit me hard because, being in a position where I have people that report to me, and then I've got people that are expecting things from me, it becomes a little bit of a balance. So, and being the type of person that I am, I kind of like to be in control. I like to feel like, I can do everything, but maybe I can, but am I going to be really good? So if everything is important, then nothing is important. So I kind of recently started to live by that and remind myself of that. So for anybody out there that's just as busy as we are or busier, and feels like you can balance all these things, you may want to rethink that.
Absolutely. I always am conscious of my energy and how much I am giving my energy to others. And it is, you just have to, you get to a point where you have to manage that because
Yeah.
there's so much, and you want to show up the best that you can, right? So, okay. For a young person coming into the industry, what advice would you give them?
Learn as much as you can, be involved, be engaged. There's so many resources out there. I'm actively involved with SMRP. I'm on the board of directors for SMRP. It's a great resource. There's tons of other organizations out there. I look back at, I don't even like to think about the pandemic, but if there was one good thing that came out of the COVID era, a lot of companies, including us at SDT, we really had to pivot and come out with some really good online learning material. And if I would say, if anything good that came out of that era, there a lot of companies developed and came out with some really, really good online learning content and material. So I would just say, be involved, be engaged. Don't just be a bystander. Get in and learn. And again, if you get involved and you start to meet people, you'll find that the majority of people in the industry, they love sharing their knowledge, they love sharing their expertise. So just be involved and be engaged.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I could talk to you all day. I look forward to seeing you in July. And I am just wanting everybody to share this episode, like, subscribe, do all those things. Share it, like really send it to somebody, like copy the link, put it into an email, send it to them, or even a text. I know people are texting back and forth so much these days. So do that. Just send them the podcast. And if you meet somebody cool, send them my way. I'd love to know them and interview them if I am lucky. And until next time, be empowering. See you later. Welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast, a production from Empowering Pumps and Equipment as the voice of the pump and related equipment industry.